Hey guys, welcome back to King Arthur Legends Rise. In today's video, we're going to be looking at a mistake that I made in a previous video. Now, I assumed a specific character was just a support, but I learned the fatal mistake of King Arthur's Legends Rise. Don't assume a character until you've looked at their chivalry bonuses. And today's video is going to be covering a big change that I've made with one of those characters. Thanks again to King Arthur's Legends Rise for sponsoring today's video. As always, if you want to play the game, if you want to get involved, if you like what you see here, make sure you click on the link in the description or in the pinned comment. Download the game. You can play it across all the platforms. It's a really fun game. I recommend you give it a go. So what am I talking about? I made a video on one of my favorite supports at the time when I was looking at Bedivere, which was Aine. We were using Aine to basically provide Bedivere very powerful buffs, right? Basically critical strike damage increase 2. This worked really well with my +8 Bedivere, who does a bonus damage when he's under critical strike damage increase. I was like, great, this is an awesome support. And I had a few people come back to me and say, hey, I think you've misunderstood Aine's purpose and Aine's role. She's actually a lot more than just a support. I was like, okay, well, doesn't make sense, right? Because you look at all of her effects. She places buffs. She makes dot immunity. She removes debuffs. Her support set really sounds like I'm a support. You look at her skills. You look at her passive. She does counterattacks. She doesn't scream strong damage dealer. But here is where the big difference is. The chivalry bonuses redefine how you will approach Aine, specifically for chivalry. So what am I talking about here? Well, at chivalry 1, we don't really gain too much of a difference, right? We gain an additional effect in which this is going to remove a debuff. That's fine. Chivalry 2 is where it starts getting interesting. So what has Aine got as a passive? She's got Torrent of Mana. When she uses skill 3, she will attack all enemies 2 times. The total damage will be attack based. However, if you were to take her to chivalry 2, it adds a bonus damage stat increase based on effect resistance stat. And this is actually quite strong because you will gain 2% attack for every additional stat of effect resistance. Now, I've managed so far, and it's not a crazy build. Like I say, I've been said this in a couple of videos. I've been playing this video as a more casual experience. I haven't been going super hard, but right now I've got her up to 61% effect resistance. So this is effectively giving me an additional 120% bonus attack damage. It is almost doubling the damage, right? It's almost doubling this. It's essentially a 3 times bonus because we're getting 70 plus another 140, give or take. So that's the first thing that makes it strong. It really significantly increases the damage at Chivalry 2, but then it gets better because at Chivalry 3, we also grant Ancient's God Favor and it starts at battle. And what does this do? Counterattack trigger rate increased too. So basically we get the passive triggering at the start. We don't have to use skill 2, it will apply it. And why is this important? Well, firstly, we get critical strike damage increase 2, which means that we immediately will get Bedivere's passive activate on his 8th bonus. So we get some bonus damage there, but we also get counterattack. And this is really important for the 4th. The 4th bonus is where Aine goes super strong. Torrent of Mana will actually trigger when you counterattack. So really, instead of it being tied to skill 3 only, now it will counterattack. Every time you counterattack, you will trigger Torrent of Mana. That's a very strong bonus. That's an incredibly strong bonus, which means what you then do is you go, okay, well, we're going to start the battle with counterattack. That immediately gives us a Torrent of Mana. We can then reapply the damage when we use this the first time, depending on whether it's on cooldown, and we can invest in counterattack, counter sets that give me a counterattack chance, right? Right now I'm at basically 2 counterattack chances, so that's at 36%. So what we're trying to do is just cycle this through. I haven't quite got the banner yet. That's something I need to actually get and fully upgrade. I've got a couple here. I've got a decent one, which is going to have Pierce with a bit of effect. It's not crazy, it's not good, it's not insane, but it's pretty good. And then, of course, we can get some set bonuses here to try and finish this out. But the idea that you're doing is you're setting her up to basically counterattack a lot. And then with these relic bonuses and everything else, she actually pumps out quite a lot of damage. And I'm going to show you some examples here right now. So we're going to go into the Nest of Iskalhig at 8. Normally you would bring Mark here, but I'm going to bring my Bedivere, who is basically my strongest champion right now. This is the strongest hero that I've got, and I'm going to bring Aine. We're bringing Morgan here as well. I really should start investing in Morgan. I'm just been a bit lazy. So when we come into battle here, I'm going to be using Turin's 3rd ability, which is going to give me an effect resistance, which means when I actually counterattack, I'm doing it with a much larger damage because I'm getting a bonus of that damage. So you can see here already, the extra damage I just dealt there with Bedivere's passive was incredibly strong. Now we're coming into the boss fight here. We're going to need to see how we go. Anytime I counterattack, I'm going to be activating that passive to do extra bonus damage. Now, I'm still not quite there at the full power strength. You can see Bedivere is still an absolute monster at killing single target bosses. He's just one-shot the boss on his own, which, you know, Aine is not going to be able to do what Bedivere does. You would not expect it. But in terms of battle stats here, you can see, actually, she's more than, you know, she's pretty keeping up with Bedivere. You saw Bedivere absolutely one-shot the boss. But she's actually able to really do a lot of damage. If I put a harder build on it, then she will do better. Now, where else is she quite useful? Well, of course, the arena. Now, I have been a bit lax on my arena over the last couple of days, but there is an arena event right now. So let's try and take her in. We're going to take it in with Nika here as well, trying to get more vigor going through, because the key thing is we're going to need to keep pumping through that A3 as many times, the third ability. So when we put this ability up here, Nika's going to go take a turn. Awesome. Increase resistance straight away. There's that first proc from their counterattack. Boom. Huge damage. And then another proc. Boom. Bedivere is going to finish it off. But you saw that damage proc. And we look at the battle stats here. We can see that actually the damage is not too far apart, considering that Bedivere is in a much stronger damaging ability than I've got her in. Now, obviously, I'm stronger than some of these teams. I'm about 10,000 power stronger, so that's going to be a bit of a difference. But putting this instant increased critical damage up means that whenever we attack, we're going to get Bedivire's 8th bonus, damage bonus effect. That bonus there, that's coming from Bedivire's 8th Chivalry bonus. There is the counterattack from Torrent of Mana. Counterattack again, another Torrent of Mana. So the more they attack me, the worse it's going to become for them. So they really don't want to be doing that. And Bedivere finishes them off. And of course, because she scales off effect resistance, it means you can build a lot of effect resistance against any crowd control effects. It's quite a cool combo. Right now, they're all beating up my Turin. There's the first burst there, a nice big boost of damage. And they pretty much cannot do anything against my team, because I do have a tremendous amount of healing as well in the team with both, you know, two supports essentially. So we're healing quite a lot in this fight. Now, this is obviously low arena. It's not the highest tiers arena. There are plenty of players that I would be afraid to fight right now. But if you're in the position like I am and you've got Aine and you've got her at +4, this is a great option to take your support and actually make them a compelling damage dealer. They can absolutely do quite a lot of damage for you. In this fight alone, you can see that Aine actually took over the majority of the damage. Aine actually took 44% more than my actual damage dealer because of the consistency of the counterattack in. Let's do one more fight here. 29 versus 26. I'm still a little bit more powerful than these teams here. We are up against another Nika though. So we got a dual Nika running. Don't ask me why that happened. They're a bit faster than me, but there's the counterattack. First counterattack comes out there. Then we start healing up. We start going. Nika's going to take a turn. Counterattack there from Bedivere. Next kind of flurry of damage will be coming in a moment. Another counterattack. So really, it's extremely risky for them if they are going to attack me, because every time they do, they just continuously drive the counterattacks, and it is a flurry, a torrent of mana damage, essentially. And again, let's have a look at the battle stats. 55 to 40%. She really did contribute a lot of damage. You can see kills. She actually was responsible for 3 of the kills, even though she only used 1 ability. So what is the moral of today's video? The moral of today's video is don't do what I did and assume just because the skills tell you that they're a support character, that is all they are. Because these chivalry bonuses sometimes redefine how heroes should be built and should be played. I really should push harder into this effect resistance, trying to get some higher quality tier gear. If I can get like a 6-star effect resistance primary stat here, if I can get better effect resistance and re-roll some of these stats, if I can get to 100% crit rate, there is a lot of power that can be had just by looking and kind of not just focusing your area of attention on these, right? Try to think about how the hero looks overall. That is the moral of today's story, and it is a correction from my previous video where I was like, Aine is a great support. No, she's actually a great damage dealer as well as a support if you get her to this 4th chivalry bonus. Now, I hear a lot of you will be saying in the comments, well, how is that possible? Trying to get duplicates of the same character, that's, you know, you have to whale, you have to spend a lot of money. You actually don't. You really don't. I did a video on this. I'll pin it in the comment here above. You actually can get quite a lot of memory stones now in the game. You can get them from adventure mode on the sort of 5. Look, it's more than enough here. You need 20 per legendary. Okay, so there's 5, 10. So that's 20, 30, 40, and then 60. So there's 60 there. So that's 3 alone. That'll get you to the third one. And the good news with the Clan War update, the Clan War update really has unlocked more because of these legendary stones. You get 10 a month. So between these 10 a month, and also if you go into the Forbidden Dungeon, you can get 10 a month there. So that's 1 extra per month. There's your 4th one. There's plenty of places now where you can get these memory stones. They really do add up. So it's actually quite free to play friendly to focus on one of your heroes. Yes, it'll be difficult for you to get +8, but you don't need it with Aine. +4 is the key goal there. And always keep an eye out on some events, because whilst the Arena Challenge event here is going to be very heavily focused on stamina, some of these might sneak in an extra memory stone or two. Always keep an eye out in case there are some memory stones. They sometimes will sneak them at the bottom of the event and you don't realize. So there are ways to get it without having to actually summon Aine. So that is all I would say. Don't look at this video as like this is only for whales. Actually, it's pretty accessible. I think if you can get one of her and then you can get those memory stones, it's a pretty good deal. But there you go, guys. I'm going to leave the video there. Aine, much more than a support. Who knew? Well, many players knew, apparently, apart from me. I'm glad that I learned more from looking at your comments, and kind of I went and watched a few other videos from other content creators as well. So make sure you check out the other content creators who are covering King Arthur. My good friend Scratch is covering a lot, and Odd One Gaming, and also you can check out Hell Hades and a bunch of other people as well that I often speak to and communicate with. So make sure you check out their channels also. But thanks again to King Arthur's Legends Rise for sponsoring today's video. If you want to play the game, if you like what you see, if you like the combat, you like the gameplay, click the link in the description or the pinned comment. You can download the game on any platform, play it on any device. It's available on Steam. You can play it through the Netmarble launcher. You can play it on your mobile devices, Android, iOS. Link all your accounts together. It's a great game. Highly recommend. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, have a great day, and I will catch you in the next video.